Ladies and gentlemen, I am a professor at the Technion, and we have a rule at the Technion that when I speak, you do not speak. Let me tell you something about our host, John Medved, something you don't know about him. Medved means bear in Russian and Slavic languages. Jonathan means God-given. John Medved is God-given bear. At the end of the evening, we will hear music by a man named Jonathan Rosel. Rosel is a doe or deer. Jonathan means God-given. At the end of the evening, you'll hear Mr. God-given deer. So now to my talk. I stand here and talk about entrepreneurship to you amazing people, and I'm really impressed by the numbers and the quality of the people here. And I talk about it because, as John said, I have been teaching technological entrepreneurship at the Technion for 30 more years. I started in 1987. I invented a class that never existed in the world, and it was the largest class at the Technion ever. The largest hall at the Technion was 600 people. Could seat 600 people. 800 people came to the talk. It was an amazing success. As John said, by now I have more than 10,000 engineers and scientists in Israel who took my class. And in a recent study, we realized that 25% of them are open startups. It's an amazing number. The subject of my talk is Pathways to Innovative and Entrepreneurial Society. It's a short lecture, and I will just touch a few things. I want to demonstrate to you a problem, a global problem. And the global problem is demographics. In many countries, mainly in the developed countries, Israel is an exception, we do not have enough children per woman. Countries, governments try to fight the phenomenon unsuccessfully. What does it mean? This is a demographic pyramid. It gives you information about the age of the people, looking up, and to the side, the red is women, and the blue is men. So you see that we have in Israel many young people, and as the age group goes up, we have less and less people until the age of 100. Only a few women are left, men are dead by that time. Now, this is called the demographic pyramid because it looks like a pyramid. But let's look at two other demographic pyramids. That of China. It doesn't look like a pyramid, it looks like a mushroom. That means that in recent years, China do not have enough children per woman. China started to shrink. Problem number one. And the government in China is really trying to reverse this situation. Another small country by population in Europe is Greece. This is Greece. This is Greece. Again, the number of children per woman in Greece is 1.33. If you do not have 2.1 children per woman, you are not stable. You are not sustainable. You shrink. Again, the same problem. What does it mean practically? Let's look here. This is China, and this graph gives you the dependency ratio. That means how many people are dependent on the working people. This is dependency ratio. And the blue line is the total dependency ratio. The red means children that need support, and the blue means old people. And as you see, as time goes by, we have more and more old people in China, less and less young people in China, and as the blue line shows you, the tendency is that the dependency rate in China will grow. What does it mean? It means that every young man and woman will have to produce more GDP per capita to support the aging population and to sustain the growing economy. Okay, the way to do it, or one way to do it, is by entrepreneurship. This is what a family of 3 generations looks like if you have 1 child per woman. There's a child, there are parents, grandfather, grandmother. This is how a family looks like with 1 child per woman. What happens in Israel? We have 3.2 children per woman, and this is how it looks like. Also 3 generations. See the difference? Okay. So what can we do? Number 1, we can encourage larger family. China, 2 children per family. While before it was 1 family, 1 child, now it's 1 family, 2 children. There are problems in doing it. Families are based on 1 child per woman. The whole thing is 1 child per woman. This is one reason. Another reason why we don't have enough children in developed countries is the career for women. Women are educated, they develop a career, and this is wonderful. But one of the results, less children per woman. And another thing is, it's very expensive to raise children in the world today. So families sort of stay out of it. In Israel, we have this crazy tendency to have large families. I'm very happy about it. Okay, building sustainable economy requires development of human ingenuity. And how can we do that? Well, it has several conditions. Number 1, oh my God, this is jumping beans. How can we do that? First of all, good basic education for all. For all. Also the people in the villages, in the remote villages. Those people have more children per woman. They need to be educated. You want them to be educated so that they will support the aging population when you grow old. And then we need to teach more engineering and science education. It has to be good. Scientists and engineers give life. Of course, artists, musicians, painters, sculptors, these are wonderful people. They give quality to life, taste to life. But life itself is given by engineers and scientists. So we need more and more of them. Government policy and support. Governments can do a lot to support entrepreneurship, to support more education, science and education, and so on. Free market economy. Of course, when I talk to you people, free market economy is motherhood. Of course, free market economy. Wait a minute. This is not the case all over the world. I gave a talk in the parliament of one South American country, and everybody in the parliament was happy until I said free market economy. They said no. No free market economy. I said, why? He said, because free market economy is neocolonialism. America will come and take everything. I said, okay, you want protectionism, you want to protect your products, you will die economically. This is not the way to go. And last but not least, no corruption. Corruption kills entrepreneurship. Corruption kills the economy. There are many countries in the world that are basically very, very rich, and everybody is poor because of corruption in the higher echelons. But let's say there are countries that have all this. They have good basic education to all, good engineering and science education. They have government, which is good, free market economy, no corruption. Does it mean that these are entrepreneurial countries? Not necessarily so. That may not be enough, because also needed is development of entrepreneurial spirit and knowledge. First come knowledge, then spirit. That is a process that has been taking place in Israel for so many years, and by now we are a startup nation, and it's not just a slogan. This is true. Look around you. Teaching entrepreneurship. Who opens high-tech startups? These are the people who should teach. We should teach in high schools. We do it in Israel voluntarily, by the way. Teach entrepreneurship. Teach how to open a startup. Exercise. Show people how to do it. Technical universities, of course, teach entrepreneurship in technical universities. I can tell you one interesting story. I consult a university in Siberia. Tomsk Polytechnic University. I convinced the principal that technological entrepreneurship is extremely important for his students. These are all engineering students and science. There is a program that every student must take in that university, and it's not just one class. It's a whole program of entrepreneurship. This is the future. That's the way to go. Okay, and vocational schools. These are the people that can make things, teach them how to sell them. I want to say a few words about technological entrepreneurship, the Technion class. This is a class that I started, as I said, 1997. It is a very large class. It is given by invited speakers who are divided into 3 groups. Entrepreneurs who made it big time, entrepreneurs who are fighting now, and the professionals, a lawyer who tells the students what is a limited company and how you can succeed in opening it, the way to go. I bring the patent officer of Israel to talk about IP, intellectual properties, and so on and so forth. Okay. Now, in order to have more scientists and engineers, it is my opinion that we should start teaching science very early. I said that on the radio in Israel a few years ago. The mayor of Haifa calls me from his car. Danny, he says, you said early science education. I said, yep. How early? I said, kindergarten. Teach science starting in kindergartens. He said, will you do it in Haifa? I said, will you pay? He said, I'll pay, and we started to do it. We started a program of 60 kindergartens in which we taught science, and now it grew into something more interesting. It's a science kindergarten. It's a model to the world, and everybody should come and see how they have built in a new kindergarten a laboratory, and when you enter the laboratory, you think that you are in a university. A chemical laboratory in a university, with microscopes, with everything. But you look down, and there are 10 young children sitting around a round table, very seriously, wearing laboratory coats, performing experiments, and the guide is a teacher, high school science teacher, and she teaches the children. This is real science, real science. This is the way to go. But this is just the beginning. Because what you really need in the world, and you take it to your countries, talk to people. K6, kindergarten to 6th grade. Everything with science. Yes, the government program. Don't touch the government program. But add science. And I talk about serious science. No flying rabbits and talking dolls. No, no. Real science. So that the children can understand the science that you are teaching them. I also started a television program on the Israel Educational Television Channel. It is called To Be a Scientist with Professor Dan. You can see it on the internet, but it's in Hebrew. So for those of you who understand Hebrew. But even if you don't understand, you can see what's going on there, and you will understand what's going on there. It's very powerful, and parents and grandparents love this program. Sit with the grandchildren on the sofa in the evening, watch To Be a Scientist with Professor Dan. It is important that this is copied in the world, and I can tell you that I visit 30 cities every year giving talks, many talks, and different subjects. But I always emphasize early science education. Whatever I talk about, early science education. And I say, copy it. There are many delegations from around the world that come to see the kindergarten in Haifa. And some of them succeeded in copying. I must tell you one case. People came from Lithuania, 4 professors, went back to their country. A year and a half later, they wrote me an email, Danny, we opened 16 such kindergartens. Action, action. People who really took action, and they understand why it is so important for their countries. I want to say something about entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship means being an entrepreneur in your organization. This is not only for startup companies, this is not only for manufacturing companies, this is good for every organization. Do you remember the Technion rules? When I talk, you don't? Thank you. The people who work in your organization know a lot about the organization. If you can consult with them, they will direct you in the right direction. It's your decision, but hear ideas from your people in your organization. They are better than outside consultants. They know the organization, they know what's good, they know what's not good in it. But in order to enable this, in Israel it is very easy, and I will explain you why. And I will explain also why it is impossible in other countries. In Israel, everybody is equal. There are no high people, important people, and not important people. This is mainly because of our military service and the reserve service afterwards. Okay? So who is more important, the general who is a student or the professor who is a private in the military? Who is more important? Everybody is equal. And therefore, everybody can talk to everybody. We do not have a layered structures in our organizations, especially in manufacturing companies. And let me explain to you a situation. Let's say that there is a bench engineer who has an idea. What he can do in my country, he can call the secretary of the big boss asking for interview with the owner of the company or with the CEO. And he will come and talk to him. And the boss will say, sounds interesting, let me consult with my people, I'll come back to you in 2 weeks. Call him back in 2 weeks and say, I think that we can make the product that you propose, and I think that we can sell it. I'll give you 3-4 engineers, I'll give you 3 rooms at the end of the corridor, I'll give you $1 million, start developing the product that you have proposed. And in 1 year, he will come to the boss and say, boss, here it is. And now what happens is the most amazing thing, because now the big company will open a subsidiary, and the man or woman with the main idea becomes a major partner. So somebody with good idea will rush to talk to the big boss because there's a lot of benefit in doing so. And it is expected that everybody will do so when they have a good idea. The big bosses in Israel talk to the people. They go and talk to everybody, not only to the higher echelons of the company. They talk to everybody. And consequently, it has to do with the following. It has to do with the company cultures. What do you do if you have a good idea? I just told you. Can you jump over layers? In some countries, in many countries, you cannot do that. You have to talk to your boss. And your boss will talk to his boss and so on. What does it mean? Let's say that John Doe invented something. Hey, boss, I have an idea. Boss says, wow, John, you're a good man. Thank you very much. Looks interesting. He will go to his boss and say, he will not say John Doe. He said, my team is wonderful. Look what they came up with. He will go to his boss and say, my division is great. Look what they came up with. By the time it gets to the big boss, nobody knows about John Doe. What will John Doe do when he has a good idea? Nothing. Because there is nothing in it for him or for her. Right? This is different. Okay? We have to be more democratic to enable this. Here is an example of a company in Israel called Rad Binat. It's an Israeli company. And this is the structure of the company. And you can see that there are very many subsidiaries to the company. And this is old. This is almost 10 years old. By now, they are by far larger. This spider web of companies results exactly from the possibility of people to come with good ideas and all these subsidiaries that open. It's a huge umbrella company now, thanks to the one thing, that everybody can talk to everybody. Entrepreneurship is an amazing power, and if you can bring it to your companies, to your organizations, you'll benefit a lot. In the Far East, we have a problem. There is a fear of failure. Fear of failure. I say, failure, okay, start again. It is not a shame on you. It is not a shame on your city. It is not a shame on your family. It is not a shame on anybody. It's okay to fail. Look at a child who is just starting to walk. He makes 2 steps, falls down, and he gets up. He makes 2 more steps, falls down, then he gets up. And after 2 days he walks, and after 2 months he runs, and you cannot catch him anymore, or her anymore. All right? Failure, okay. In many countries they ask me to give talk, and this is the subject of the talk. Failure, okay. Start again. Because it is so important to understand that, yes, start again. It is not a shame on you. It is not a shame on your family, not a shame on everybody. It's okay to fail. Start again. Okay. Innovation. There are cultural barriers to innovation. Do you obey or do you think? There are countries that are very successful because people obey. South Korea, Germany, other countries, people obey, and they are successful. Other countries like Israel is successful because people do not obey. The boss says, here's what you're going to do, and somebody will say, I have a better idea, boss. Why don't we do it my way? Right? We challenge all the time. And this brings innovative idea to surface. Obey or think. Both successful. Our style is think. Do you dare to express unconventional ideas? It's the computer, not me. Do you dare to express unconventional ideas as individual in a group? If you sit in a group, if everybody says something, do you dare to say, I don't think so? Or is the social pressure so strong that you will shy away and shut up, although you think differently? Do you dare to do that? In our society, we dare to do that. It's very Israeli. Okay. Innovation requires freedom to think differently and express an idea without fear. This has to do with national democracy. If you live in a democracy, you feel free to talk without people chasing you or putting you in jail. It has to do with social equality. Everybody is equal, not important and not important people. And it has to do with lack of fear from authority. It's all part of the national character that allows you to speak freely and express your mind, even though it's a minority mind, even though you are alone in the beginning, but then everybody follows you because your idea was the right idea to follow. Do you dare to do that? It's very important that you do. And it has to do with lack of fear from being wrong. Don't be afraid to be wrong. Speak up. Sometimes you say something stupid. That's okay. Next time you'll say something very wise. Speak up. Speak up your mind. Right? People may show you that you are wrong. Fine, accept it. Listen to people. But in many cases, you have the right idea that you take the whole organization upwards because of your wonderful one idea, and we are not afraid to speak. Okay, prepare for the future. That means the following, and I talk to people in other countries, and also in Israel. Teach science in kindergarten. It is very important to start, but then immediately go to K6, kindergarten to 6th grade. Teach science. The main problem are the teachers. The teachers are the main problem. Only the best people should teach. And we have a problem in Israel on this. Okay, so this is preparing for the future. And television science program, as I did. You can do it in every country. Choose a scientist that will create it or copy my programs. Thank you very much.